on once that's up.
That'd be cool. You're in charge, Kevin.
You got this, buddy.
I'm in charge?
Yeah.
I'm in charge.
No, okay, don't let it go to your head. That was a really, really quick power trip.
I don't know what that says about the rest of my life. Welcome to Monsters and Multiclass, your weekly Dungeons & Dragons fix. I'm Kevin Odie.
I'm Jared Bornagle.
And I'm Will Milton.
And we'll be hanging out with you for the next hour to talk about anything and everything D&D related. This week is the Fighter Rogue Multiclass, and then the Leviathan from Mordekainen's Tome of Foes. So pull up a chair and listen up.
All right, so this week our two classes are the Fighter and the Rogue. The Fighter is just the soldier character. It's got versatility in every single weapon. And is just pretty straightforward. It's a fighter. The rogue is the mastermind, the one who's looking for a sneak attack or a good opportunity to attack. As Kevin has described before, the opportunist. So that's our mashup. Kevin, first thoughts?
Completely opposite of last week. I love this one.
Good start. Good start.
Yeah, last week we struggled to make full time of the podcast because we disliked it so much. This time I'm worried the same problem is going to happen because it's just, it works. Just do it. We have nothing to nitpick or try and figure out. You have two fully martial classes that mesh together really well. Their abilities add to one another. I can't think of many traps, bad moves to make with this one. Role-playing wise, there's no reason they couldn't work. They're just both well-trained individuals.
I think we'll be able to talk more about some good roleplay ideas. I think that's where we're going to find some interest. Will, first thoughts?
Yeah, like Kevin said, this is a very good combination. We're looking at a class that there really are very few traps. The only ones being, say, the arcane ones don't really make sense.
Yeah.
But as far as mechanics are concerned, I think this actually will differentiate itself a bit from like the Bard Sorcerer, where it was just a giant pool of new spells. There's mechanical potential in a lot of different combinations here.
Yeah, I think that's really fair. So first thing, the ability score requirements. Fighter is either Dex or Strength. Rogue is just Dex.
Right.
So really easy decision right there.
Play Dex-based fighter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
so you need Dex 13.
Right. And you're really going to need to, well, I guess not really. The versatile is all that's necessary for the sneak attack, correct? Well, let me rephrase
Finesse.
that.
Yeah.
It needs to be finesse.
Yes.
Finesse needs to use dexterity or can use dexterity?
Can.
Okay. So yeah, the rogues.
That came up way back in like episode 1 or 2 when we had the barbarian rogue.
Yeah.
We are working out that it just needs to have the finesse property. You can still attack with strength and get sneak attack.
Right.
So I guess if you wanted to, you could do a strength fighter with Dex rogue, but
yeah,
it just feels like you're kind of fighting against it. Like, why would you?
Not
armor.
any reason.
I got armor is probably the only
What do you mean?
strength minimums on armor.
Right. So if you want to do a heavy armored rogue, which you could do with this, you'd have to do strength and dex, which again still isn't that hard to get.
No, you can very easily start out with 16 in both.
Yeah.
With the rest in con. Yeah, you can do if you do point by 15, 15, 15 in the physical ones, 8, 8, 8 in the mental ones, and have a really fun character to play.
It's generic, but it makes sense.
Yeah. That's getting actually a little min-maxy.
Whatever.
Well, one issue I have with that is I like the idea of rogues being smart, but it's not necessary for them to be smart.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is that they think things through. They're planners. They're waiting for that moment to strike. And that always makes me think intelligent. They also have a lot of skills. They get one of their first things is expertise, which lets them double their proficiency bonus. They're good at a lot of things, and that always makes me think intelligence. It's not necessary in any way, though.
Flavor-wise, it's rogues are always going to be the clever martial type, but reflective of stats that doesn't actually really play in. So it's really up to the player how they want to roll those stats.
Of course, but that's me. I'm always trying to leave the stats a little bit higher for just the sake of flavor. The proper stats higher. Okay, so backstory-wise, rogues, normally we're talking like they grew up on the streets or just in criminal organizations of some sort. Maybe not criminal, but Yeah, we'll say criminal organizations.
Extra legal.
And fighters, I mean, they can be soldiers. That's like a really easy way to play it. I don't know if is there any other outright descriptions for fighters?
About what they are?
Yeah.
They're just dedicated to the craft.
Well-rounded specialist is literally the header. So
yeah, they're proficient in every single weapon in the game.
Okay.
Yeah, no questions asked. It's just they're good with it.
All right, so this really seems more like we're going to take the rogue, which does have a lot of flavor injected into it, and just say, and also they're really well trained in weapons and armor and any situation they need to be good at, they are good at.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think
which also just fits with the natural rogue as well. The natural rogue. Just a rogue. That was a weird way to phrase it.
In
But
its natural
pure rogue.
habitat.
Pure rogue.
pure rogue. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think this works well for somebody who's like a spec ops. Is like first thing that I think of. Like they were trained by the military to do these really tactical missions, get in and get something done and get out.
Right.
That's perfect for a rogue
Oh,
fighter.
for sure.
Yeah, honestly, looking at every single rogue subclass, the only one that doesn't really fit is the Arcane Trickster. Everything else, Mastermind, Thief, less so.
Yeah, Thief's the other one. It's a little weird.
Assassin, definitely.
Yeah.
Mastermind, Scout's perfect. Every single one of these combinations pairs very well with everything in the fight.
Yeah.
Really.
I
I really like Inquisitive with Battlemaster.
I do too.
I like the flavor of that. Where they're and then it also adds a reason to want to have some intelligence
Mm-hmm.
in it.
I would disagree on Scout, actually, just to a small extent. It's not that it doesn't mesh, it's that it doesn't really mesh super well compared to the other ones, because Scout's all about being able to scout in the wilderness. It's like the Ranger Rogue, almost. It's not particularly necessary to be fighter, or I don't see that.
Well, that makes a lot of sense in a military unit. I could see
Okay.
every military unit would have a scout, for instance.
Okay.
So if you were classing out a battalion of soldiers, you'd have rogue scouts, you'd have fighter champions, and you'd have a lot of overlap there.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. That's fair. Swashbuckler, you're in the Navy.
There we go.
Yeah, really.
Although every time we
don't like the swashbuckler.
boat based.
Not boat based, and I don't like the Swashbuckler.
Whatever, man. Why?
It's just I don't know. We keep on trying to bring it up every time the rogue comes up, and I like really fought for it when we first started recording these. But it's just not too amazing. The fancy footwork. You can make an attack and move away. You don't provoke opportunity attack from that creature. It's okay. It's not bad.
But rogues, get that as a bonus action anyways.
Yes.
Like, it's almost like stepping on their own ability.
Yep.
It's a little weird.
But for a fighter, whereas a rogue is limited to one attack, if you were running through the battlefield and you wanted to hit everybody on the deck of the ship because you're a swashbuckler and they never leave the ship, that's pretty good.
No, it's not. You still have your bonus action as a rogue. If you want to disengage, you can
use
make
your
your
bonus
attack.
action for whatever else you want.
Yeah, okay, so it frees up your bonus action. Is that really a reason to dip into this class? No, I don't think so. It could be, but I don't see it. If you really want to go for the Navy background, sure, you have a reason for it that's not terrible. Rakish Audacity, you get a bonus to your initiative rolls equal to your charisma modifier. That, right out the gate, meh. I mean, it's pretty good, but now you've got another stat to worry about that doesn't get you much else until you get to level 9 in Rogue, and even then it's not too impressive. You also gain an additional way to use your sneak attack. This actually could be kind of useful as a fighter. If you are alone with an enemy, no others within 5 feet of you or it, you get advantage on sneak attack. Or you get your sneak attack, sorry.
Right.
That's not bad. I could see a fighter being up in the fight.
More so than a rogue.
Yeah.
Isolated targets, that would make sense.
So, yeah, okay. That's fine.
Yeah. What I think probably one of the best combinations would be rogue, whatever you want, and then the Battlemaster fighter. So mainly rogue with a 3-level dip into fighter is going to get you a lot of really good stuff.
Right. The only issue with that is a lot of those, not all of them, use your bonus action.
Right.
So, you might want to try and avoid those, but you still choose when you use them.
Yeah, so I'll get to those in a second, but just a 3-level dip. So if you're a rogue and then you do 3 levels in the fighter, you get a fighting style, you get second wind, you get action surge, And then the first martial archetype. One thing to note with Action Surge, it does not give you another opportunity for sneak attack.
Correct.
Sneak attack is once per turn. Action Surge gives you another action on your same turn.
Yeah, that's
So,
really
yeah,
important to note.
Yes, yeah. But then so with Battle Master, honestly, just for riposte, I mean, there's a lot of good ones. So the Battle Master get superiority die. They get 4d8. I'm pretty sure it's 4 as third level, and then they can pick 3 maneuvers.
Yep.
Pretty sure, which do different things. They have different effects. One of them is riposte. So if a creature misses you with a melee attack, you can use your reaction to expend 1 superiority die and make a melee weapon attack against the creature. If you hit, you add the superiority die to the attack's damage roll. Why that's so great for Rogue is it's the limit of sneak attack of once per turn. It is no longer your turn. So you have your turn, you attack, you get your sneak attack. It is now someone else's turn. They try and attack you and miss. You then repose and hit them. And if you get the condition of the sneak attack, that's then a second sneak attack around.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. Anytime that a rogue can not only get an extra attack, but also get an attack outside of their turn order, it's just going to be very, very good.
Right.
And both of these, you said just a 3-level dip. I mean, both of them work really well on a 3-level dip.
Right.
We've talked about rogues before. I mean, they get expertise, sneak attack, Thieves' Cant's not as important. Cunning action, which gives them a bunch of bonus action abilities. They can disengage, hide, and dash. Yes, thank you. And then their roguish archetype, which all of them have pretty good 3rd-level abilities.
Yeah.
They vary after that. The subclasses actually kind of aren't the main selling point of the rogues a lot of times.
I agree with you. Yeah.
And Battle Master is 3rd level as well. Both of these at 3rd level, fantastic.
Right. Yeah, you get 6th level character. That's 3 in Battle Master, 3 in Rogue. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or like with the other maneuvers, trip attack. So you can, you hit them and then you try and knock them prone. And then with the fighter, have extra attack. Your next attack, so you do on your first one, then your next attack is at advantage. And so you can give yourself sneak attack.
Yeah.
But I guess that's not until 5th. So you'd have to.
Correct. Yeah, I
Go to
mean,
5, but-
that's a big thing with a martial character that gets extra attack, is it's difficult sometimes to multi-class because you want to start it early, because the low-level dips are really great. But if you don't wait until level 5 with the fighter, you're really kind of missing out on a lot. I mean,
Right.
if you go 3 and then 3, it's now 6th level. You have to wait till 9th level for your extra attack.
Yeah, and also
Or
you missed your
not
ability scores. And
Yeah, exactly.
8,
So
yeah.
it's usually best to just get straight to 5th, and then from there start thinking about branching out.
Yeah.
But fighters get an ability score increase at 6 as well, don't they? Is it 4th, 6th? Yeah, I think it
8th,
is.
12th.
Yeah, they get it
Yeah.
like every other level or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they get a
fuck this
lot.
up all the time, but yeah, fighters and rogues both get their little bonus.
Yes.
ASI.
Yep, we just talked about this last episode. Fighters get it 4th, 6th, not 10th, 8th, and then 12th. Okay. Whereas rogues just get like one additional one at 10th level. So either way, they get a lot of ability score increases. You're not going to be super concerned with that.
As long as you do it right, you should be able to get all 5. I mean, a 4-level dip in rogue, especially something like that, you get all 5 your ASIs.
Right.
Yeah,
6
definitely.
of your ASIs.
Yeah, you should be good there.
Yeah.
You get a lot. I mean, you kind of forego them just because you don't. Well, no, yeah, you should be able to get all 5, which is good, and leaves tons of room for feats. Because that's always we've talked about before. Fighters just going straight up with ability score increases. Sure, you're going to be really good at everything because you're going to hit your max on, whatever your fighting thing is. It's dex or strength or constitution, whatever. Those ones really
Right.
easy to get to 20. But it's usually better to take a feat of some sort. Maybe not better, but it's more interesting to take a feat, and you are a lot more freed up than it being something you're limited to every 4 levels.
Right.
Here's something. The champion doesn't get a lot of love because it's the simplest class in the game. But increasing your crit range
Ooh,
as a rogue is
that's really good. Yeah, I didn't
that's
think about that.
ridiculously powerful.
Yeah.
Right. Since the sneak attack dice would double.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's extremely good.
And
Yeah.
mechanically speaking, as you're playing as a champion and a multi-attack style fighter, I could see you saying, no, I don't sneak attack on that and trying for the next one sometimes. Just because the chances of a crit happening, especially if you have a really high to hit, it's maybe worth the risk of not taking your first sneak attack just to double it later.
Yeah, that's a really
Right.
big risk. I get what you're saying, but trying to just hope that the second attack hits, it's a situation by situation basis. If the thing has a low AC, yeah, sure, go for it. If you've got a really high to hit at later levels, go for it. But I probably would. I'm a little bit more conservative when it comes to that. I want the damage now. If it's a crit next, okay, sure, I missed out on some, but I'm not going to be upset over a crit.
But think of all the dice you're missing.
If I wanted that many dice whenever I wanted them, I'd play a paladin.
Hey, not every attack. You eventually run out of spells, which is the beauty of this one.
You
There
don't run
aren't
out.
a lot of consumables here.
Yeah.
No.
The rogue has essentially none, and the fighter, their consumables are just kind of,
All come back on a short rest.
they come back
almost
on a short rest,
entirely.
and they're
Right.
ridiculously powerful.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
Action Surge comes back on a short rest. Really, really good.
Right.
Second Wind, you just get some HP back. Really good.
Right. Short rest.
Yeah,
Pretty sure.
short
Yeah.
rest. Yeah. Okay, so one that also doesn't get much love, but is made less bad by the rogue, could be the Arcane Archer. If you're going to be doing that anyways.
Mhm.
My only issue with the Arcane Archer is that they just don't get a lot of shots. It doesn't ever scale. They get 2 magical effects that are, I won't say similar to the Battle Master's abilities, but just something that they can use as a resource. I'm trying to see it. I think it's, yeah, you have 2 uses of this ability that regain on a short or long rest, and you just get some interesting options. The thing that sucks about Arcane Archer is that never goes up. You always have 2 chances with this ability. But if you've got Rogue as well, you're probably not going to be going up super high, or you don't need to go super high up
Right.
in fighter. So even just like the 3-level dip gets you those 3-level dip into fighter is super great as it is.
Mm-hmm.
And now you've got some interesting things that you can do with your arrows, which this would be a really good class to be ranged, as we kind of already said. Though you can really go both ways.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Also then the Cavalier, one of their third levels ability, Unwavering Mark. So when you hit a foe with a melee attack, you can mark the creature until the end of your next turn. There's no resource used up for that. So well is within 5 feet of you. The marked creature has disadvantage at any attack roll other than you. And then in addition, if the creature marked by you deals damage to anyone other than you, you can make a special melee weapon attack against the marked creature as a bonus action on your next turn. You have advantage on the attack roll, and if it hits, the attack weapon deals extra damage to the target equal to half your fighter level. I think that meshes really well with Rogue with their bonus disengage. So you would need the right party composition. You would need other people in melee with you. So you're on a target. You hit them, you do Unwavering Mark, which doesn't take a bonus action or anything like that. Finish up your turn, and then you end it with a bonus action Disengage to move back however far you want.
Right.
So then most likely, if there's somebody else there, that target is not going to follow you. They're
Right.
going to attack whoever else is there.
Unless they want to take an opportunity attack or disengage. There's
Right.
a lot of things stopping them.
Right. So then it's a really good way to trigger that second ability on your next turn. So if since it attacks someone else, then on your next turn you get a bonus attack, so you get an extra attack, which is at advantage. So sneak attack, regardless of what's going on, and then deals extra damage.
Yeah, that's
So it's kind of ignoring the first part of it, where if you are within 5 feet of it, it has disadvantage on an attack roll. Like you're kind of ignoring that aspect of it.
right.
But to kind of keep getting yourself a bonus attack with advantage.
With advantages,
Yeah.
definitely the thing there. That works pretty well.
It's an interesting class. The Cavalier, the flavor and everything really does point to this mounted combat, but that would have really ruined the subclass. So mechanically, they completely avoided anything that requires you to be on a horse, to be honest.
Right.
So it doesn't, flavor-wise, it's a little sketchy. I can't see a lot of rogue background types becoming, cavalry masters. But mechanically, it is a
Horse archers.
Yeah, horse archer would be great, but all their mechanics are melee.
I know.
Or when I think Cavalier, I think like 3 Musketeers, which I think could fit really well with
Yes.
a type of rogue, especially like the Swashbuckler.
Yeah,
Well, that's
definitely.
Just for that, I know they're not pirates, but just for like the charismatic swordsman.
It really
Swashbucklers are pirates.
They're obviously pirates.
This is the debate we're going to have every single time, and we're just going to keep flip-flopping. If Kevin says they're not pirates this time, next time they're pirates.
What's the Google definition say? Well, I don't care. I disagree. But yeah, it is designed to be a mounted combatant, but it works pretty surprisingly well with a rogue. But
Yeah.
that's one that I think flavor-wise doesn't fit great. The other one is Purple Dragon Knight.
Which
You
from Sword Coast Adventure Guide.
Right.
you would have to create this weird kind of class where you are like a knight, but now why did you go into roguishness?
Honestly, it's that Spec Ops thing again. Like
Is
you
it
are
really?
you are the elite guard that the king sends you on your these special missions. That's all I got. I'm not saying it's great, but that's the only thing I can think of for that.
My special missions, of course.
Special missions, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean? That's great.
But yeah, that one doesn't really work that well.
No, I don't love it.
It's an okay one, but
I don't really know the flavor behind that one much.
you're a Purple Dragon Knight. Which is
Yeah,
a
but it's
type
like
of knight.
tied to a specific kingdom, and
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that kingdom, or if I should know anything about it.
We probably should know a lot more about the flavor of the realms we play in, but we don't.
No, we don't. I mean, we've talked about that a lot recently. Is it necessary? No. We're kind of playing our own partial homebrew of Forgotten Realms. We don't stick to everything exactly because it's exhausting. I haven't read a single Forgotten Realms book, like actual book.
There's only like 900, so
Yeah.
we should start catching up on.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, it's the thing. Every version of these universes and world, it's the multiverse.
Mhm.
Our Sword Coast is our unique little version of the Sword Coast and Faerun and all that. Then someone else's table is their own version. Like it's
It's just not
fine.
important.
Right.
Yeah, not like saying it's bad conversation. Just it doesn't matter if, sure, if you wanted to use the Purple Dragon Knight and say that you're a part of your own homebrew kingdom, I don't think anyone should care that
Right.
it says Cromwell or whatever.
All right, guys. Samurai.
Samurai.
Fighting spirit. You can just give yourself advantage. 3 times.
As a bonus action,
Mhm.
right? So on a bonus action as your turn, you can give yourself advantage on weapon attack rolls. When you do so, you also gain 5 temp HP, which is nice. Increases at 10th and 15th level. You can use it 3 times, regain on a long rest. I mean, that's good. Yeah, that's really good. Just give yourself
I don't have
advantage.
sneak attack. Now you do.
Yeah.
That's a really good combo. And even flavor-wise, it kind of keeps going. Elegant Cordia. You are good in social situations.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. If you want to mix it over with swashbuckling samurai.
Samurai use boats, I think.
I don't know.
No, does Japan have boats?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right, you got me there.
All right.
They're an island. They have boats.
So it's fine.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that could be interesting. What's Elegant Courtier do?
You just have
Courtier.
advantage on persuasion checks.
no. When you make a
No,
persuasion check, you gain a bonus equal to your wisdom modifier.
Which is interesting.
I really like the
Oh.
flavor of that.
That is really good. That is a lot of skills to pay attention to.
Yeah. Oh, you
You
also
know-
gain proficiency in wisdom saving throws.
Okay.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And if you already have that, then you get intelligence or charisma.
Yeah. Okay, that's actually really nice.
Yeah.
So an extra saving throw. Tireless Spirit, starting at 10th level when you roll initiative and have no uses of Fighting Spirit remaining, you regain 1 use. Ooh. Okay. So that's really good. Now you're giving yourself advantage in
Once
every
per
fight.
encounter. Yeah.
At least
This is one of those things that doesn't get brought up much, the samurai one, because it is a little weird flavor wise.
Yeah.
But especially combined with rogue, I think this is a standout combination.
Yeah. I
This
mean,
and champion, battle master probably comes second after these two, in my opinion. There's a lot you can do with battle master, but you're kind of at the whims of your dice there. This is
because they
more
have to make saves and whatnot.
This is free advantage. That's kind of
okay. Yeah.
pass up.
Yeah.
That free
fair.
advantage for a rogue is really great.
Yeah, that's free sneak attack, higher chance of critting. Hey, I won't turn that down. Any levels that you think would be good in particular to get to? Like, I feel like both these things have pretty good things all the way up to 20, really.
Yeah, I think it's the
Right.
thing you picked to chase. The rogue both the rogue and the fighter are indirectly linearly scaled. With the rogue with sneak attack and with the fighter with extra attacks. If you were looking for big sneak attacks, you only really have one option there. You've got to go into your rogue levels.
Right.
So I think an even split on this one is actually a decent idea, depending on what you're going for.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And then it just time the swap, from who you're leveling based on the extra attack and ability score modifiers and sneak attack bumps and all that. You just got to get a little clever with it.
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to do something like, this would be missing out on a lot of ability and score improvements, but 11th level fighters get a third attack. I don't know if that's particularly necessary to have, but it's always good to just have another attack. It's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. So getting up to 11 as a fighter, 9 as a rogue, you're missing out on that additional ability score increase, but you do get your second subclass ability as the rogue.
And that is the 5d6. 10 doesn't get you more.
Correct. So, I mean, you can get 5d6 as sneak attack damage.
Was that 9's the second rogue archetype? So,
Yep.
If there's a good thing there, that's a great place to stop.
Right. With Swashbuckler, I'm not really going to pay attention to it. But
Not a big fan of panache.
I'm not a big fan of Panache.
Panache.
Assassin's probably the worst ever, but great flavor, but
Yeah, you can
Jesus,
spend a week and 25 gold to make yourself somebody else. Again, we've talked about this before. There's probably situations where this is amazing to have. But
yeah, I would love it if I needed it, but will I need it? That's always the question you got to ask.
Right. I'd much rather a lot others. But really rogues in general, their ninth level one is pretty mediocre a lot of times.
It's their ribbon level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
It's an oddly effective ribbon. This one, some of them are pretty damn good, but they really aren't going to change the battle.
Right. Like the scout one, superior mobility. Your walking speed is increased by 10 feet. It's so you're faster. That's
cool.
great.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the inquisitive, it gets a little weird. You have advantage on any perception or investigation check if you move no more than half your speed on the same turn. So basically, you get advantage on those things.
Yeah, which is good if you're fighting invisible or hiding stuff.
Or out of combat.
Yeah, then that's
Or
the
out of
question of
combat.
out of
Yeah.
combat. You're never going more than half your speed when you're walking around.
Not if
right.
I do a chase encounter.
Chasing. Oh yeah, no. That's when they come up. Chase encounters. You got to be very, very, very perceptive.
Which the inquisitive rogue is.
So I really. There's only a handful of combinations I don't like. I really do like almost all this.
Yeah, it's like I said, there's there's not really many traps. It's kind of pick and choose your flavor. I would try and line the levels up with the ability score improvements and extra attacks and sneak attack bumps and all that. But even if it's you're probably not going to be able to get it perfect, and that's fine. It just depends on what you're chasing, what you like.
Yeah, and I'd say if there are any traps, just go the thief subclass.
Thief, I'm not the
Thief,
biggest
Eldritch
fan
Knight.
on. I think Eldritch Knight could be okay.
It's just difficult. It sucks not having
yeah.
spells. Being a third caster already hurts every
Right.
time it comes up with multiclass.
you're right. You're gonna have so few spells.
Exactly.
It's gonna be very, very limited.
But what if you combine that with Arcane Trickster?
I'm not saying it's good. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's going to be a good class, but it could be interesting.
That would be mechanic. Technically speaking, I don't even know how to approach that. It's confusing.
They're both using intelligence.
They're both using intelligence.
That's okay.
Also, both of them just are good regardless of their subclasses. And we already established rogues themselves, their subclasses are okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really not the meat of the class.
Right.
Fighters, Eldritch Knight gives you some good stuff, like being able to cast a cantrip, and then make a melee weapon attack.
Right.
It might just be a weapon attack.
I don't know. That with actually being rogue, that could be really nice. So you do like your booming blade cantrip, and if you're
One
level
weapon attack.
10 or whatever, you get your D8 to hit, and then it's plus the weapon attack, and then if it moves, it's 2d8 damage, and then you get your bonus attack, which could also then be a sneak attack.
The War Magic is a bonus action. So you make your cantrip, then as a bonus action, you can make a melee attack.
Yeah.
Which is fine. You just lose out on being able to disengage or do any of
Right.
that rogue stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still, that's good.
Yeah.
I say-
Picking the spells would be a little tricky because they're both limited. They don't just have... It's off the wizard spell list, and then they're limited by type. I don't have it pulled up.
It's evocation and what is it?
Abjuration?
I think
wanna say?
abjuration is right because they can cast shield. So
Yeah, abjuration and evocation spells for the Eldritch Knight. Arcane Trickster, I know it was illusion.
And enchantment.
Yeah. So
that's kind of giving you access to
a lot
of
actually, yeah,
them.
between the two.
That might be
yeah.
good.
That's
Might be.
That is a very weird combination that you'd have to think your way into very
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, no.
This might be a cop-out. I think it is admittedly beyond the scope of us discussing here in the podcast. Like, we have to really dive into the spells and have to write some crap down. And
I will just say that I would not write it off. I think that
yeah.
Arcane Trickster and the Eldritch Knight could potentially go all right together as long as you're accepting, like, I'm going to have barely any spells. It's just not going to happen.
yeah, but then you have
know?
all the good stuff.
All right,
for
so
it,
what's
though.
the flavor? I was bored in the army, so I learned magic. And then I was bored of the army entirely, so I became a rogue. But I was bored of that, so I also learned magic.
No, I just...
No, the flavor-wise, the magic's the same. I mean, it comes from their... Essentially, they learn magic the same way a wizard would.
Right.
So they both learn magic the same way, but through hard work and study, and they write it down and
Yeah.
etc. So it's...
It's just not limiting the schools as much.
Right.
That's all. I don't know. I don't see any issues
Yeah.
flavor-wise.
Yeah,
on that
it's
one.
yeah, soldier who...
A special ops soldier
Yeah.
who's well-rounded in everything.
Yes.
I figure there's just like, in the army, there's a class to learn wizard spells.
Yeah.
And in your criminal organization, they're like, there's also a class to learn wizard
It
spells.
doesn't need to
They're
be a
just
criminal
different.
Yeah.
organization.
All right.
That's what I'm trying to
Being
get at.
very narrow-minded
Your
on it.
gray market boat.
I mean, again, you can be in a criminal organization and just learn how to fight and learn how to survive. That's like a big thing, as well as learn how to be crafty and an opportunist and all of these things. I mean, it's just a matter of how good of a school you went to. And this one's like, hey, you should also know some magic. And you're like, yeah, that sounds good. I'm just going to learn everything because I never know what tool I'm going to need for this moment. So
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, actually, yeah, the Eldritch Knight, Arcane Trickster, Multiclass sounds like they'd be like a Renaissance man.
Yeah.
Like they're good with all weapons. They're opportunists and they got good sneak. The certain skills they're just phenomenal in with expertise. They dabble in all these different types of magic.
All right.
You're like, I'm
this
trying to
is-
think of reasons I don't like it.
This is a personal bias, but I already hate
has so
that
many
character. Oh, yes, I know that spell. No, that's a good one. Yes. Oh, yes, I can sneak. Oh, the door's locked. I can take care of that. Oh, yes.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds great, but like everybody else at the table is like, all right, I wanted to do things. That...
Yeah, no, but it's the jack of all trades, master of none. That's
Right.
Yeah.
So
It's
how many,
kind of like another way to get at sort of what the role the bard fills in a way.
So then at 6th level, they'd be a 2nd level spellcaster, right?
Well,
And-
it's whatever they would be on the
sorry,
their
if they went,
table.
I'm sorry, at 3 and 3, they would be 1/3 each. So that would be a 2nd level spellcaster. That's what that comes out to.
Okay. Oh yeah,
If they're
for using
third
the
level,
proficiency
yes.
table. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean that's really mediocre, and that's fine. I'm saying the spell casting is going to be such an afterthought, where they're going to have at 2nd level, it's just what the 3 first levels. So until they're a 3rd level spellcaster, I don't even think they get 2nd level spells, which is going to take a while. I don't want to sit here.
Second
and
level
do the math.
spells come at 7th level for rogues.
For a rogue, but I'm saying for a rogue arcane trickster.
Yeah, so you have
Eldritch
to
Knight
use
crossover.
the rules in the multiclass area where it says for these 3rd casters, you take the level in it divided by 3. I'm assuming round down,
Correct.
and then you add them together, and then look at this table, and that's where they fit.
Yep. So it would be.
So I think it's going to work out the exact same. Where
I'm
so
just saying,
if you're level 6. If you're just like a level 6, I have it pulled up. I could just answer this myself. Yeah, if I'm a level 6 arcane trickster, I will have 3 first level spells.
correct.
So it's the same. Yeah, it works out the same.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
it's
yeah.
really low. Like
Yes.
it's going to take you forever to get to anything worthwhile, I guess. And if you
Well, that's the subclasses. It's no different. If you were just pure rogue and went arcane trickster, your advancement in your spells slots and spells known is identical.
right, but then to actually get access to second level spells in general, you have to, as you said, be 7th level.
Yeah.
So in one of those, and you're going to be 3rd level in the other one, and you
level 7, you get second level spells. So
right,
they
right,
combine.
but you don't have
perfectly.
access. You don't have access to the spell list until one of those classes is 7th level. Before that, you only have access to 1st level.
I think that's right.
Yeah, you have to.
3 first level wizard spells of your choice when you get this. 2 of which you must choose from enchantment illusion. The spells known column the arcane trickster. Spellcasting table shows when you learn more spells. Each of these spells must be an enchantment or an illusion spell of your choice and must be of a level for which you have spell slots. That's all it says.
If I remember correctly, it needs to be that specific class. That specific class needs to have access to 2nd level spells.
The sentence right after that is, for instance, when you reach 7th level in this class. So it's that actually might be a little. That's a little ambiguous, but I kind of lean towards Kevin's ruling, where these classes basically scale identically.
I'm almost completely positive on this, and I'll look it up later. It's not worth looking at right now because I'd have to find a Jeremy Crawford ruling on it.
Jeremy, quick.
But yeah, I think this actually came up in an earlier multi-class we were talking about, where you just kind of limit your spell, the spells that you can choose from, because you need to be a higher level in that specific class.
I think you're right here. So I pulled up the multiclassing thing. Spells known and prepared. This is for multiclassing. You determine what spells you know and can prepare for each class individually as if you were a single classed member of that class. If you are a Ranger 4 or Wizard 3, for example, you know 3 first-level Ranger spells based on your levels in the Ranger class. As a 3rd-level Wizard, you know 3 Wizard cantrips, and your spell book contains 10 Wizard spells, 2 of which can be 2nd-level spells.
Okay.
Each spell you know and prepare is associated with one of your classes, and you use the spellcast ability of that class. Yeah.
Woohoo, I was right about something for
you're
once.
Right.
For once.
Man, wizards get a lot of spells.
Yeah.
3rd level wizard, 10 spells. Like, we should play wizards, guys.
Right now?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's
Get out those dice.
let's end this podcast. We got D&D to play. Do you ever think that? Like sometimes just like, hey, we get together like very frequently to record these podcasts.
Yeah,
we could just play D&D. Nah.
But it's only 3 of us.
It's only, yeah. Oh, man, that would suck.
We
I'd
could
play
both play 2 characters.
There you go.
Ooh.
Level 20s. This is a good multi-class.
It is.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
There's so many combos.
Yeah, like
there.
say, I wish maybe I'm putting something out there we're not ready to talk about yet, but we're working on getting a website going. Where this stuff will be posted and we'll have like a more detailed episode guide and we're intending to write kind of articles and things like that. I think the Eldritch Knight Arcane Trickster multi-class would be a good subject for one of those.
Right.
Because there's a lot of in-depth stuff. It's going to be, it's hard for us to sit here in a podcast and make it entertaining without it being full of a bunch of silence and people trying to keep all these spells and everything in their head. But
Right.
so that might be something, a good article idea for early on once that's up.
That'd be cool. You're in charge, Kevin.
You got this, buddy.
I'm in charge?
Yeah.
I'm in charge.
No, okay, don't let it go to your head. That was a really, really quick power trip.
I don't know what that says about the rest of my life.
All right. Anything else about these 2 classes?
Nope.
I think mechanically speaking, this is one of the few classes that might just be objectively better than Isolated.
You're saying that
These two
going
put together?
in Rogue Fighter is probably better than just one or the other?
Yes.
I would agree.
I
I
can
think
see,
so.
yeah.
I think this is the first one I can conclusively say this is probably mechanically better than anything you can get with one class.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're both really good too. So,
So.
they just have such great first 10 levels. Like you just get such good stuff. It just keeps happening. So, yeah, do whatever you want with this. It's going to be great.
Great recovery from Monk Cleric. Whatever the hell that was.
It's a whirlwind of disappointment.
Yeah.
A flurry of blows of disappointment.
There you go.
There you go. All right, let's move
A
on.
flurry of disappointing blows.
All right, it's not getting better. We're just slight.
No,
variation.
yeah,
was
that was
better.
pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
right. Before we move on to Monsters of the Week, look us up on Twitter. Follow us if you feel so inclined to. We talk about D&D stuff on there, and you can ask us questions, give us suggestions, argue with us. We also do kind of teasers of what's coming up and interesting ideas and whatnot. Leave us a review wherever you can. That's real big for, I guess, for podcasts being seen and all that. So like iTunes and Apple Podcasts, which are the same thing, and Stitcher all allows reviews. So
review us, subscribe, follow us on Twitter. There we go.
Done.
There
We just need to pre-record that.
It's more fun when we
Yeah,
awkwardly stumble through. I honestly, it feels more organic,
Yeah.
and I think our listeners appreciate that.
It felt
The
more
awkward
organic.
stumbling.
Yeah.
If you appreciate the awkward stumbling self-promotion, look us up on Twitter, follow us, and let us know.
The moment to
Isn't
kill
it
the
better than
podcast.
screaming for them to like and subscribe?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, we need to move on.
Yep.
Monster of the Week. We're like 50 minutes into this.
Sweet.
This week, we are returning to the Elder Elementals for our Monster of the Week. This one, the evil form of water, the Leviathan, a horrifying snake-like creature summoned, comes out of the ocean itself, made essentially of the ocean. Its biggest capability is definitely going to be the tidal wave. And like it says, it is quite frankly a tidal wave at 250 feet high and 250 feet long. If you were looking to destroy a lot of boats, this is probably your go-to. So what do you think,
Swashbucklers
guys?
beware.
Swashbucklers beware. No matter how many levels in fighter you may have, the Leviathan doesn't care.
This is cool. This is the third time we've talked about the Elder Elementals. And this one's probably the most, to me, classic one. I feel like everyone's heard of a Leviathan, and it's just a word used in a lot of lore in the real world. Is it called lore when you're talking about our societies in the past? Like Roman
Let's
lore?
go with yes.
Okay.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. The prehistoric and historic man was never really at war with the earth itself, so the big dirt turtle was a little bit more creative than perhaps they were. But we always were in kind of a love-hate relationship with the sea, and we always were at its whim. So this is a great kind of a primordial evil that you would face.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, guys, it's actually neutral.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. It's just neutral. It's fine.
Primordial neutral that you'll
The Leviathan did nothing wrong. You were in his sea.
No, that actually is the flavor of all of the Elder Elementals, is they are neutral. They aren't
Yeah.
particularly evil. Who summons them might be evil. It's
Right.
usually cultists. It's cultists. But them themselves, they're just there. They're summoned from their plane of existence,
Yeah.
probably the elemental plane of water, if I had to guess.
Oh, really?
And
Puzzled that one out.
and now they're like, why am I here? Tidal wave, tidal wave, tidal wave.
Yeah, then like their presence is just damaging, and so civilizations will naturally want to take care of them, and then when they get attacked, they defend themselves.
Right.
They're all of their intelligences are 2, I think. This one, the Leviathan, is 2. I'm pretty sure all
All
of
of
them.
them are two. They're not
yeah,
the brightest.
Yeah, they're all true neutral. Yeah, so it kind of makes for an interesting thing.
Just like the setup of it, or just the monsters in general?
The
That they're-
monsters in general, like
Yeah.
it's their, even though they put destruction on the line, that's not right. That's not really good phrasing of it. Even though they just do destroy civilizations, everything around them, just by their mere existence and movements,
They're
they
just
don't really mean to.
No, they're just a
They
dumb
just
dog that wants to
are.
go home.
Yeah, they just are.
They're essentially natural disasters with mouths.
Yeah.
You know, if a tornado was an animal in our place, we'd be like, it's not a bad animal. It's just kind of a tornado.
Right.
That's actually a super good way to put it. Natural disasters, just
It is. Yeah.
the sentient natural disasters. This is the tsunami. The Elder Tempest is the terrible storm, like tornadoes.
The Zeratan
Is earthquake.
Earthquake.
Yeah,
The
for sure.
Phoenix.
Forest? I don't know. We haven't done that one yet. But the
that one's
forest
made
fires,
of fire.
yep.
Less threatening.
We're not even allowed to mention it yet. But it's still a really, really difficult thing to fight. Challenge rating 20. So right
Yes.
out the gate, you know it's going to be hard.
Mhm.
But just its overall stat block doesn't scare me too much. Like its slam attack is its main one that it can do. One with its slam, one with its tail. The slam is plus 16 to hit. So yeah, I guess that's kind of scary. But it's
20-foot range.
20-foot range. 10d10 plus 10 plus...
No, 1d10.
Sorry. Yes, thank you.
Big difference.
Very big. 1d10 plus... Why? Because there's a lot of 10s and I get tongue-tied. I'm sorry.
Tongue-tied
I'm not a
from the
professional.
10s.
1d10 plus 10 bludgeoning plus 1d10 acid damage. At level 20, that's not actually that
2d10
bad.
plus 10.
Yeah, it's
Damage.
like super not a big deal.
No.
A lot of your characters are going to be putting that out easily in their first attack.
Yeah.
Right. But then the tail attack, kind of same deal. 20-foot reach, 1d12 plus 10, and then 1d12 acid damage. So
Yeah, for a level challenge, for a challenge rating 20, it doesn't hit that hard with its main kind of base things. I think the Flint hits harder regularly.
Yeah.
The challenge rating 9 Knoll Leader
yeah,
that we
but
dealt with.
it's only going to be using those when it doesn't have a better use of its action.
Yes.
And what's that better use? The tidal wave. Recharge of 6. So if you're familiar with recharge of 6, it uses the ability for free at the start, or it can
as
use
an action.
Yes, it can use the ability as an action, but then it is depleted. It needs to, at the start of its turn, roll a d6. On a 6, it can use that action again. That, for the Leviathan, is the tidal wave. While submerged, the Leviathan... Ooh, that shouldn't be hard to say. See? I'm not a professional. The Leviathan magically creates a wall of water centered on itself. The wall is 250 feet long, 250 feet high, and 50 feet thick. It is hitting everything. Everybody makes a DC 24 strength saving throw. Creature takes 60-10 bludgeoning on a fail, half as much on a success, and it just gets pushed.
Does it?
Yeah.
Remember, I don't think it says that, which
No, it
really
doesn't.
surprised me.
Yeah, I guess it does just take the damage, but the wall itself does move out. So
Right.
really, everybody is going to be. It creates its own battlefield terrain.
You have to make a check to swim out of the wave. It will go through you, though.
Okay, that makes sense. So you're saying it'll take you with it, or what?
It doesn't sound like it. So at the start of each of the Leviathan's turn after the wall appears, the wall, along with any other creature... Oh, there. Damn it.
There it is. All right, so it will move.
It's a
you.
long stat block.
Yes, it is. It moves you 50 feet if you, I guess, fail that save.
Yeah.
So now it's getting difficult to even get close to it,
Yeah.
which it's gargantuan. And we've discussed this before, that with something gargantuan, it's hard to put a mini on the table. It's no longer a mini at that point.
Right.
A Meggy. Usually you're just going to say, hey, it's this area. So I don't know if you're just going to have them slash at the water. It doesn't seem right. But it's just a giant creature that's going to take up a very large area, but it's still going to push you back. You have to continue to make your way towards this thing, wasting movement, wasting spells, just trying to succeed that strength saving throw so that you can get close enough. Or just, I mean, even a ranged weapon attack it has a limited range.
Right.
At a certain point, it's going to push you out of that very quickly.
And I'm pretty sure you're at disadvantage if you're swimming
Correct.
for like a longbow and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of water combat's really difficult to
Yeah.
run. So maybe you
Especially
are
in a situation where you're looking at it is a siege monster who can create tidal waves.
right.
The DM's gonna have to make that call. Is like, is the boat still there?
No, I mean,
No.
This is a
well, actually-
250 foot tidal wave is like unrealistically huge in a lot of ways.
I think the only way to go into this, and at level 20, somebody's got to have it, is fly. Like, if you're
Yeah.
trying to fight this thing while you're in the water, it's going to be awful. The tidal wave's still going to hit you. It's 250 feet tall. But at least that way, when you get out of it, you're safe for a little bit. But once it recharges that, it's sending another your way.
Right. Yeah, it could have two of these. If it's really lucky, it could do this every turn.
Yeah. Ugh.
And
And they last 5 turns.
Yeah. So so it appears, and then That's what it does. So for its turn, it's that 250-foot long wall in front of it, whichever direction it wants. Anybody who's in that space makes the strength save, a DC 24 strength saving throw, which is very, very high. Or it takes the 60-10 bludgeoning. Then on each of their turns, each of the Leviathan's turns, it moves 50 feet away. That's when it drags anybody who's in there with it. Anybody who's in it, who's being dragged with it, again, needs to make another DC 24 strength saving throw or take 5d10 bludgeoning damage. And then after it moves, it lowers 50 feet.
It also reduces the damage by 1d10
Yes.
each round, which is just interesting. I like that mechanic a lot.
Yeah.
It's losing energy.
Right. So if you fail your saves and aren't really able to get out of this, you're going to be taken back. What? 250 feet
Yeah.
from it? Yeah, taking shit tons of damage along the way.
If you can't swim, if you do not have a great swim speed,
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
flying.
Yeah, creature caught on the wall can move by swimming because of the force of the wave, though the creature must make a DC 24 athletics check to swim at all. And it's 50 feet thick.
Right.
I mean, it is not an easy thing to... You would need to swim through it.
Right.
Because if you just swim out of it, it's just going to hit you on the next turn anyways.
Yeah.
So you need, 50 feet to get through it.
So, I mean, again, we're talking at high levels. This is not a low level thing. You're going to have a lot of things.
Guys, my level 3 party couldn't handle Leviathan. What did I do wrong?
And then you were talking about boats and stuff. And all boats have AC.
Yep.
And they have hit points, damage thresholds, and all that's worked out. And this does damage and will do damage to the boats. So it's very clear cut if the boat would still be there.
Yep.
Based on this, it's obviously going to just fail its strength save. It's going to take the damage,
Mhm.
I imagine.
And be pushed
Yeah.
for all 5 rounds.
And it's going to take 60-10 on the first one, and then 5d10 and 40-10. It's I don't think the boat's going to survive it.
Probably not.
I think some of the higher level boats can just survive that. Maybe.
There's also
Possibly.
the setup for this as a DM, you can get pretty creative and give a lot of things that make this fight, I won't say easier, but make it a little bit more possible. Because if you don't have somebody who's not a magic user, you don't have fly for whatever reason, your rogues or your fighters or your barbarians, whatever they are just going to be in the water. They're not going to have the ability to move themselves out. Like if you have Misty Step, great. Okay, so you take the first one, you fail your strength saving throw, and then you Misty Step 30 feet forward so you don't get hit by it again. Good.
Right.
You're out of it. But
Until it recharges. And then,
until it recharges, and you have to use all of your second level spell slots on Misty Step. But if you are a DM going into this, you can say, hey, here's a magical boat. The magical boat has a lot more hit points, or maybe it has the ability, if somebody's maneuvering it, to make a strength saving throw.
That's what I was thinking. If you have an expert navigator, if you could have your party participate in this kind of thing,
the crazy
no
Captain
boat
Ahab.
is just there's a giant wave, better let it hit the side of the boat and just die. No,
Yeah.
there's a way to steer through the waves. It's just not easy.
No. And again, you might need to throw some magic into it, but it's high level. We're talking about a time where magic is encouraged. So
This is the water curse, though. Like everything about a water level in any kind of game situation.
down to Super Mario Brothers.
It started before we were born, but it can so quickly become just a very frustrating experience.
Yeah. Luckily D&D offers you a lot more versatility in how you deal with it. I do really want to throw a crazy Captain Ahab type in this, though.
The Captain Ahab
Steering the boat and just screaming his head off. Is that all you got?
No, if it comes back on a 6, dude.
Make it a 5 and a 6.
We can come back every turn. I know the sea. Stop. It's not like a challenge rating 27. What are you doing?
It doesn't speak any language. It's not understanding a single word of this. Your taunts are just going right over its head.
Yeah, this is obviously your perfect high level. The sea is no longer your friend kind of situation.
Right. It does get legendary actions, which I absolutely love legendary actions. Does it need them? Probably not.
It's only move and slam,
Yeah. And it can move for 1 action, slam for 2 actions. So it's not doing much. It's moving and slamming in between its turns at most.
it has 150 swim speed though.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my issues is how do you get a battlefield big enough to deal
You
with
have
this?
to theater mine this.
Yeah, it's so hard to put this on a battle map.
you are not doing this on a map with minis and stuff, unless you do it where each square is like 50 feet.
That actually is totally possible.
But then it's there's still a lot of theater of mind because you're not like taking your little mini and counting across the squares. And
Yeah.
it's like, all right, I dash. It's like I'm
Putting you on the boat,
don't-
though, kind of removes that. You can still obviously get out of the boat if you're flying or doing whatever else, and you face that exact same issue. But if you have the boat as the main thing that the party is on, and I don't know how as a melee fighter how you would go about.
So
you
attacking
get
this thing.
fly casted on.
No, here's my counterpoint. Let's pretend everyone isn't flying because I think that is kind of a cop out. The Leviathan essentially is going to surround your boat, and that's your melee opportunity. Casters fly up, and then they get hit by a tidal wave, and now you got to bring the boat all the way back to the Leviathan.
Yeah.
So you're creating that kind of gap,
Right.
Yeah.
and that's not necessarily that's another problem. It might be a little bit boring there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really could be. I think this has a really big chance of becoming a boring fight, and just either your party is absolutely screwed and just kind of locked into one position. Well, probably mostly that. That's your biggest hurdle to overcome. Is just how are you going to let them actually move around and have some agency in this beyond just getting tossed around like they're getting hit by a tidal wave every 2 rounds.
Yeah. Also, any sort of water breathing stuff because you could dive under it. I get the impression it sort of appears on the surface.
True. And actually, I think, 50 feet long, 250 feet high. I hate to say it, but mechanically speaking, if you're 10 feet underneath the water, it doesn't hit you.
Right.
Yeah, I would.
Which-
I would make a call like 10, maybe 20 feet.
Yeah.
tops.
Yeah,
that's fair.
But
That's
it's
fair.
like, I mean, I'm sure you've been in an ocean, right, with waves.
I've never swam in the ocean.
Bougie fuck.
Have you really not? Or,
No, literally
okay.
never in my
Okay.
life.
So,
Are you
yeah.
serious?
Yeah, no, I think
Wow.
I went to the shores of New Jersey in May, and I put my feet in the water once.
You've never gotten pummeled by waves?
No,
It's really frustrating.
I bet.
I think it's a lot of fun.
But have you ever like gotten,
quintessential experience?
have you ever gotten really just stuck where you got hit by wave after wave and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm out of breath. And you're like, this was fun for 30 seconds, but it's now 45 and I'm worried I'm going to die at the age of 8. I'm covered in like these horrible rubs, sand marks, and my entire nose is burning from the salt. That's kind of what I see with this fight. A very frustrating fight against the ocean that you really can't win.
Yeah. Well, it's thematic.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
very, very.
But with diving underneath, so it's like with ocean waves, like you could experience that, and if you dive underneath a wave that's coming at you, it's just you kind of feel it pass over you, but it's ultimately fine. Obviously, these are
Much bigger.
yeah. We're not dealing with a 250 foot tall wave, but if you're a couple inches under their standard wave and you're fine. If you're 10 to 20 feet underwater, I can see it's like all right, the tidal wave passes over you.
Okay, yeah, that's a fair way to do it then.
Especially because it's magical. It says they call it tidal wave, but it's essentially a moving wall of water. So it's not like it's having to suck up water from the ocean to add to its volume.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
With
That,
go ahead.
with
Kevin.
the
you deserve it.
Thank you. I don't know why, but thank you. With the hit points of the ship, a ship would actually survive quite a few of these. A warship has 500 HP.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
it's got it for a
Sailing ship
little.
has 300. A long ship has 300. Then it starts gonna get iffy. Keelboat has 100.
Yeah, I don't think
A
this
galley 5.
I like to imagine this on just like a
rowboat?
random fishing boat. Like,
Yeah. No, there's a rowboat that is 50 health.
it takes the first hit, just explodes, and we're like, why didn't we buy a better boat? We have so much gold.
That's a fun picture. Like you're in the big coastals. You're like in Waterdeep, the major coastal city. The Leviathan is summoned offshore, and there's this like that mass, all the turmoil out there. It's like, all right, guys, we prepared for this. We trained for this. It's time to go take on the Leviathan. And the party piles in a rowboat.
Sailor's life is life for me. What are you doing, man?
What I was going to bring up was the partial freeze. It's one of its things. If it takes 50 cold damage or more on a single turn, the Leviathan partially freezes. Until the end of its next turn, its speeds are reduced to 20 feet. It's not reduced by 20 feet. They're reduced to. So even its swim speed is only 20 feet instead of 120. And, more importantly, it makes attack rolls with disadvantage. So that's going to be something that if you figure that out, which, I mean, maybe your party's smart and they figure it out. Maybe they do research beforehand because they're like, there's a crazy thing that's just causing tidal waves offshore. Does anyone know how to stop water? And they're like, put some cold on it. I don't know. Or intelligence check.
I bet it's
There's a
weak to
million ways.
acid.
It's immune to that.
Yeah.
I guess I took the wrong class in Elder Elementals.
I tried. So I mean that's something that definitely helps out if you can do that much cold damage, which I mean might be possible with like a ice storm or cone of cold. 50 is still a lot.
There's I can't remember the spell. Like there's like a blizzard style spell.
Yeah,
that
that,
acts
like-
as its own storm, so you could have like a storm off. It's like who's gonna win, my storm or your storm? Buddy?
Right. But it does stack as well. So if you have your wizard using or maybe not a wizard, somebody using a Ray of Frost. I know it's only a cantrip, but at that level, it's going to do a pretty good amount if it hits. Ray of Frost is a dexterity saving throw. So it
Isn't? I thought it's attack.
No. Sorry. You're right. It is an attack roll. So 17 AC. That's easy enough to hit at that level.
You're not going to do 50 damage though. With
You're
that.
not, but it's in a single turn, not a single attack. So if a couple of people are casting it, or if one person's casting
Turn
it,
is one person's turn.
No, wait.
Yeah, it's a single turn. So it's with basically if a character does it. I'm not sure
yeah.
about holding though. You might be able to do something creative with holding.
Okay,
I don't-
guess, but that would also be really good thematically. Everybody we need to hit it at the same time. Everybody hold your cold
frost
spell,
damage.
whatever, and then just boom, hit it all at once. I think that
It's
actually
very
is
anime-esque.
yeah. Honestly, I I DM like I watch anime. Animes are a really good inspiration for random stuff like fighting and just over the top fun like that. What are you doing?
Don't worry, man.
Okay, I am worried. Got your phone out.
One thing to possibly end this super early, banishment. So I know it has legendary resistance,
Mm-hmm.
but it's only 3 a day.
Yeah.
And if you're like a level 20 party, I mean, you could just keep burning spells.
Is that a
Just
charisma
banishment,
saving throw?
Banishment.
Or wisdom.
It's charisma.
Charisma,
Which is
+9.
interesting. Why they gave that +9. I don't know.
There you
So
go.
it's
Okay.
gonna be tough.
Yeah,
And and it can choose that once it fails it. So yeah, you can try.
Oh, can it?
Yes,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
the most frustrating part, and that's like that's the reason
Oh, if it
banishment
fails a saving throw.
is
Yeah.
not an encounter ender. So
Right.
I mean, at level 20, we are talking about enough banishments where it might be, but
Yeah.
you're also taking the risk of getting your entire party obliterated while you waste your time failing to banish it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're losing at least 3 full turns, and you're probably the wizard who can do the frost damage.
Yep.
Right.
You know, so I would always lean towards I'm going to try and do some weird ice storm.
Yeah. A completely another take on setting up this encounter. So we've been talking about it in the ocean. It doesn't need to be in the ocean. It says it's usually summoned in a body of water.
Right.
It actually has a walk speed.
Yeah.
So it could be summoned in like a lake.
Well, a lake would
somewhere.
still be in water.
Right, but
But you're saying that it can come
not
on to the
So
sea.
you're essentially
Yeah.
fighting the lake.
But it loses its tidal wave.
Yeah, or it's a smaller body of water. So it's there, so it's doing the tidal wave from there, and that's going across the land and devastating the countryside, or
Okay.
hell, even just like a deep river that goes through a town or something.
Yeah.
It's summoned into that. So then you still have this fight. You're still dealing with the tidal wave, and what's really is what makes it hard. And you're getting around that whole thing about if you don't have fly, you're screwed. Like
Right.
all the turns of just getting back to them and
That's fair.
swimming and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, that works. That works. I say it does specify it magically creates a wall of water.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if there is enough water to do that, because that's a lot of water. A small lake is not going to be enough.
No.
I don't think it's ever going to be in a small lake. That seems like a really dumb place to summon. But I mean, if you're a cultist towards elder elementals,
What
you're
if
probably
you-
not the smartest guy.
What if
ever.
you have cultists who summon it in this small lake and expect it to move through the river that it leads into the ocean? And they're like, yeah, we can't go into the middle of the ocean and summon it. That's really tough. So we're going to do it in this small lake where we totally have the means necessary. It comes up, it tidal waves out, probably kills all of the cultists, which is good. It's great. I love dead cultists.
Poor cultist.
And then it makes
Classic
its way
summoning.
through the river, just making tidal waves that ravage the countryside.
Yeah. No, it absolutely can. Yeah, I think rivers are really going to be the key thing of making it interesting, because it has the water form, so it can move through a space as narrow as 1 inch without squeezing. So
Yeah.
even though it's this massive gargantuan thing, if you summon it in a river, it'll work. It'll be able to travel through the river.
It does say from a large body of water. It's called forth from a large body of water. I don't know if that's really necessary. I wouldn't sit there as a player and to my DM be like, whoa, you can't summon a Leviathan here. This is a small body of water, not a large one.
There's not enough water.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do like a cup of water. Cultists just huddled around just like a small glass of water. Arise, Leviathan! Arise! And just... I hope the glass is okay.
All right, so I actually did look into this. Doing that cold damage is going to be a bitch.
Yeah?
There's not a lot of cold spells.
What did you look up? One of the...
The only one that's probably going to do the job for you is Cone of Cold.
At a high... Cast at a high level,
You have
right?
to upcast it.
What is Cone of Cold at a
8d8.
regular casting? 8d8?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which will do it if you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're
1d8
really
per,
lucky.
But it's also
Yeah.
a 5th level spell, so, that's
But
your only real...
It can be upcast. Not
yes.
saying it's always great, and it's really only one turn that it gets disadvantage on attack rolls, which, as we talked about already, aren't the key killer here.
No.
I'm less concerned about that. How many Ray of Frost is 1d8 at 17th level? Is it 3 or 4 d8? I don't remember how cantrips scale.
Does that really matter?
It might. Yeah, kind of. Again, if
think
we're talking about
3.
everyone holding at the same time.
I mean, is everyone a wizard?
No, but Ray of Frost isn't that hard to get.
Everybody has some multiclass or take a feat to fight the Leviathan.
I'm not saying
It's
that.
48. But,
It's okay, 48. So if we're talking about the Ice Storm one that doesn't take an action every single time, which I don't remember what that spell is, so
It doesn't scale.
it doesn't scale.
You can't upcast the cold damage.
That's fine, because then your wizard casts Ray of Frost, 48. Your Eldritch Knight casts Ray of Frost, 48. Your whoever else has Ray of Frost, 48. Again, I'm talking high level. It's a one scenario where you can try and do it, because if somebody misses, then right out the gate, you're probably not going to get to the 50.
Right.
It's not perfect. I'm saying there are opportunities, just not a lot. I agree.
Yeah. I would honestly like that more expanded, but
What do you mean? What
it
expanded?
seems like a very isolated way to try and slow this thing down. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
No.
your best bet is just going to take it head on.
Yeah. And yeah, probably not waste your banishments. Unless you just want to get rid of those legendary resistances, in which case it's definitely going to use them on banishment.
Right.
So, though I don't know if it would know to. It doesn't matter.
It
just,
don't matter.
It would probably just do the first 3 things if it's this intelligence level.
Right.
So, yeah, cool. It'd be fun. Do you guys want to fight this in our
No,
arena?
not really.
No.
I kind of really don't want to fight
Okay.
this at all.
Not this. I definitely want to do one of the Elder Elementals.
I
but
think the
not this one.
Zeratan would probably be the most fun.
Yeah, Dirt Turtle's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think that's a Pokemon.
Yeah, no,
It kind of does look like a legendary Pokemon.
Yeah. All
Or
right.
maybe the Phoenix when we get to that.
Yeah.
But at its lower challenge rating,
Oh.
2 Phoenixes.
There we go. That's a fight.
we're experts. We don't have time for CR16s anymore.
Can't you find some other adventuring party to take care of that? We have an Elder Tempest to deal with today. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Will? Anything else?
Nothing from me, dog.
Okay. Thanks for joining us then.
Thanks for listening.
Next week on Monsters and Multiclass.
Join us next week as we look at the Druid Ranger multiclass and the Amisu from Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes.